Let's try again. Let's try again. Let's make sure that we got audio. Yeah. All right. Okay. Man, there are days when you just hit every branch. Today is one of those days. That's all right, because I know at the bottom of the pit, that's about as far down as I can go. After that, and this isn't the bottom of the pit. Let's be honest. As bad as it always feels in that moment, that's really not the bottom of the pit. It could be a lot worse. It could be a lot worse. And what you always need to get to the point where it could be a lot worse is just one little sliver of hope. One little change to flip you back around the right direction. This morning, the straw that broke the camel's back was this microphone not working for some magical reason. And I say magical reason because the connections didn't change. The software didn't update. Like, it just was not functioning. I still can't tell you why it wasn't functioning or what about the resetting to the original configuration made it suddenly work again. Maybe the computer just got confused. I don't like inconsistency from computers because they are computers. They should do things very consistently. They are machines. Anyway, maybe my computer's a little more alive than I like to give it credit. Don't know. Let's get started. Greetings, one and all. Chris Courtney here, new Pragmatic. It's time for the feedback loop. Got a lot of people in, a lot of different projects. I'm overwhelmed with craziness, so let's just jump right into it, okay? That's me talking on YouTube. That's different. All right, so Katie's the first one in the bucket today. She's got she's testing her prototype, and this is the first time we've actually tried to test the prototype. She's got 4 things that she wants to do. One of these is pretty passe, to be honest with you. Katie, please log into your account. I'm really interested in the things that are unique to your project. But let's just go through these. Please log into the account. From the profile page, find the gluten-free option in the popular category. So I've got to find the profile page, and then I'm going to find the gluten-free option. Tailor the steak bowl and add it to your cart. Complete your purchase. Okay, so let's go over here to Figma. And to do this, you're going to want to remember to share a prototype link with your participants, okay? Because if they don't have a prototype link, they're going to open it up in your wireframing mode. And again, you haven't done a lot of this sharing, and you can also, when you're sharing that prototype, you can like turn those hotspots, or not turn the hotspots off, but you can turn the toolbar off, and now we can like actually use this. So you said go to profile, so or no, you said, I'm sorry, log into account. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. I'm going to enter your name and a password. Notice that moved just a little bit. It tells me this isn't a component, so just look out for things like that. We're going to hit log in. Okay. So so it took me to the profile page, which is kind of a gimme, okay? Because I didn't have to look for the profile page. I'd be very interested to know if they find ourselves back over here on Fresh Market, and I realize what this means is you need to have a flow that dumps you back on the home page, and like, because otherwise, to go through this to get to the point where it says welcome Katie, I've got to I've got, I'm going to go over to menu, and see menu doesn't say welcome Katie. So I got to go through the login phase again to find this page. Okay, so that's the trouble that I have with this flow. Is like you're asking them to find something that you've already dumped them on. All right, and I would be curious. And again, I got to do this. I would be curious if they knew from the home page that the profile page was their account. I want you to test not only their ability to click some buttons, but also their ability to, are you saying the right words that they understand? Are you understanding the words that come out of my mouth? Profile, personal information, favorite meals. I'm looking for, it says here, I'm looking for a gluten-free option in the popular category. I'm on the profile page. Oh, there's misspelling there. Harvest, not harvest. I mean, unless it's like a really huge salad or a soup. Like it could be a harvest soup if it was gigantic. But I think you're looking for harvest. I don't see how to select a gluten-free option. So that could be me. I know how to do it here where I like go over to menu and then I go down here into like well, I thought, okay, then I go to popular, and I filter, and go gluten-free, and hit apply. Like, I know how to do that. Is that what you're looking for me to do? So it could be just it could just be, like, it says from the profile page, find a gluten-free option in the popular category. So that prompt may need some work. If your goal was to get me over here, and you've dumped me, keep in mind, I'm supposed to be logged in right now, right? So I should not be seeing login up here. Okay, and you may be wondering, okay, well, Chris, how do I loop back around? What I would suggest doing is getting them to sign in, and then having everything in the signed in state. That's what I would suggest doing. I would suggest just updating this nav to have everybody in the signed in state once they've looped through and done the sign in. That would smooth out that issue. But if your goal is to, okay, so I'm on the profile page, how would I find a gluten-free option? Like, that makes me look around the profile page. So think about how you're phrasing the questions. That very well could have been more of an issue with the phrasing of the question than the actual prototype. Because the prototype, like, oh, I'm going to go to menu, and I'm going to, ask the question, how would you find a gluten-free option? Okay, you're now on the profile page. From here, where on the site would you find a gluten-free option? And I'd probably go, well, probably in the menu, and then I'd probably go here. And I'd probably go, well, probably menu, and I'm going to look for gluten-free. I don't see, maybe salads? No, it doesn't allow me to select that. Well, I can select popular. I guess I'll filter it. Oh, gluten-free. So it's doable, but I think the phrasing of the question gets in the way a little bit. And I've used the site before, so I might try to adjust that question. Let's go here. It says tailor the steak bowl and add it to your cart. So here's the steak bowl. Okay. Customize and apply. Add to cart. Ooh, fancy. Okay, so we've added that to cart. Complete the purchase. All right, so we're going to go to cart. Well, view cart. Cart delivery payment review. Checkout. Select one. Okay. Select payment. Select one. Review order. Do wish this was where I could like just have it on screen. I'm always having to scroll down. Okay, continue shopping. So this has some issues in it. One, phrasing of that question. Two, persistent. I'm logged in, but now I'm seeing log in. Couple misspellings here and there. Three, just the depth of that checkout flow. Something to think about. Now I'm on a 13-inch MacBook, so the depth of my screen is not substantial. But still, when you're talking about this cart, like there's not a lot in here. So we go to checkout. This doesn't seem like it just seems like there's a lot of space in here that could be soaking up a lot of possible depth that keeps pushing that select payment down. And actually select payments behind my head. So anyway, I digress. Let's move over to priority guides. Now, priority guides are this is Abby's first stab at priority guides. And in part one, you were basically doing a breakdown of Toggle, and the first iteration, the primary. Here's the focus, what it's about, how to use it, how they give back, and you're basically looking at these various sections, and you're like, okay, how did they package how to make it work together, and what's in here? Trust and transparency, communication is key, real-time updates, you can do it, the messaging, right? And here, working out of the office is doable. And basically, this is some manner of the summary that ended up there, right? Like there's going to be another cut of this that expands. But here, like, you can see the difference between new work environments may call for easy integration, and then why it's great and relate to the user. Like you can see, like it expands a lot from version 1 to that final version. So the version 3 here is going to be adding a lot of this more in-depth text. Same thing here. Like you've got to basically boil it down. You boiled it down and you've said, okay, well, I've got 2 key parts. Well, really there's making it work, trust and transparency, communication is key, real-time updates, and you can do it. So there's actually a lot more here. If I'm looking at this and I'm saying, okay, these are the subheads, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this. So these larger sections, I don't think you're fully unpacking them. Let's go over to the example. So here, we've got, this is for drop contact. And this is the hero unit. The hero unit's always pretty easy. Proof of existing customers, that's that little bar there. Reliable email, it's GDPR compliant, that's right there. And here are, enrich data, boost data, clean data. That's those 3 bullets there. Testimonials, like who's talking. Key features, email finder, CRM enrichment, company enrichment, GDPR. Like it's all right there. And then how it works, CRM integration, interface highlights, API, all right there. Here's, we're just going to say 3 stories from the blog, get started today. So when I look at yours, okay, you're trying to go, you don't have a target yet, you're building from the ground up. But I wanted to give you a couple of examples so that you could see how this kind of comes together. So your first iteration and your third iteration are more like your first iteration and your second iteration. Like the second iteration should be more thought out like this, to the point that it allows your third iteration to begin building off of each of these items. But think about it, we always, in the other examples, like that first cut, is always pretty tight. It's, it's like the big headline on the story, the big headline on the page. What are we mainly talking about? And when I look at your part 2, I see a lot of bullets here. time to do today overview. Time organized events, assignments due, attendance tab per class per day, today's lessons quick access tab. The good news is what I'm hearing is I'm hearing about the product that you've been designing. Okay, up here at least, like you can create events, the attendance tab, the lesson plan, like that stuff. The messenger, like I haven't heard a lot about that. Like we have not focused on a messenger in the flows. And that's really important to think about. Okay, well, what have I really been focusing on? What is actually going to be in this thing? Adding to classes, quick add assignments to classes, add content for today's lessons, add grades. That seems like that's a much bigger part of your product than Messenger, which I've seen nothing about Messenger on the flows. But maybe it's just like a preference. Current classes, list of classes teaching, direct access for the class, grading, archives. So what I'm not seeing here is like, what's the prompt? Like right now we're telling people about here's what's going to be in the product. We haven't told them how to sign up for it, how to get more information. This is a product that's going out, when it will be released. There's all sorts of different little triggers that we'll need. It's the try it for free. It's the you get down here to the bottom and it's again try it for free. Like there's these lures laying out there trying to pull people in. What is the what is the hook here? Is it because this could be, if this is coming from the district, is the hook just announcing when it will be released, coming for the third quarter? Is it training? Like this is something you're going to have, and is this targeting teachers or is this targeting parents? Like who is this talking to, and how do we make them feel comfortable with this new tool that's coming? So in this case, it may not be something that you're selling for sign up. It may be take the quick tutorial so that you'll know how to use it when it gets here. But regardless of all that, this third iteration needs to be more robust. You need to be thinking about what are the actual words that are going to be on the homepage of this thing. Okay? You've worked through this. You've worked through the project. You know what the project is. You're reflecting it, but we need to expand on what you have here. Okay? All right, Bren. This is gonna be real quick. So obviously, there's exercise part 1 and exercise part 2. Exercise part. Everybody they look at part 1. They go, "Gosh, there's no text. I need text." It's without text for a reason, because I give you text in part 2. We're walking up to hierarchy. Okay, it's not something that you have to. It's not something that you have to immediately begin working with text. The challenge is can you establish hierarchy without text? Okay, can you just look at shapes and color and go, okay, one thing should be bigger than the other things. What thing should it be? And I've given you things that do not fit into this dynamic. This page is for nature. This page is for nature, but this page is nature horizontal. This page is nature vertical. So I'm looking for you to use images and create a focal point using horizontal images. I'm looking for you to create a focal point using vertical images. I'm not looking for you to pull text in. I'm not looking for you to use photos of bridges and stuff over here in part 1 or part 1. Over here in part 2, it's still part 1, but this is horizontal and vertical, but with bridges. Okay, so I'm not looking for you to use flowers here. I'm not looking for you to use coastlines. I'm looking for bridges over here. But I'm not looking for text in either of these because I give you text in exercise 2 of this two-parter. Okay, so like I would strip this away. I would also utilize the space. These, I know we haven't talked about grid yet. That's coming up in another exercise, but this is about utilizing the interface. And I'll just come over here really fast, and I'm not completely sure where that came from. But if this is bridge vertical focus, it may be very may be, something along, these lines. I'll double click this really quick and I'll crop it. That's vertical focus. And then I can come back and, frankly, that's the thing. It's oh yeah, vertical. That's the thing. Here it is vertical, but that doesn't mean that I can't come back and do something horizontal. The key is vertical focus. Vertical focus does not require everything on the page be vertical. It just requires the things on the page, that the thing on the page that is in focus. It only requires that to be vertical. And now if we hide those guides, it's very easy to see like there is a vertical focus to this. And if you're wondering about typography can fit in here. It's nothing that you have to immediately do. But again, the goal here is to utilize and meet the target. It's not necessarily to just fill it up with text and whatnot. And I realize that is a tough target sometimes to go to, because it's like, well, wait, how could this page be real if I don't have text, and if I don't have this, and if I don't have that? Well, honestly, there's a lot of things in the world that don't have a ton of text. Like I think of Pinterest, okay? But this exercise is just seeing if you can, like, can you constrain yourself to just using the images that are provided and creating like vertical focus like this. If that works, that's vertical focus. This is vertical, but there's no focus. There's nothing grabbing the attention. This is horizontal, but there's no focus. This is vertical, no focus. Everything's about the same size. Horizontal, no focus. And again, remember, this is images, okay? When you get over here, this will be text, and you'll be asked to do things with pre-existing shapes, okay? All right, let's kill that one. Let's kill that one. Let's kill that one. Let's kill that one. I'm going to kill that one. I just don't want to see that one anymore. All right, and then finally, Ricardo. So Ricardo's working on his survey, and we've gone, last week, Bren, and the week before that, Abby, everybody's been working through this survey, and I say this because there's plenty of feedback loops that you can watch where I've referred back. I've talked about the surveys, but I've also dropped a video detailing like how to use conditional logic and the purpose of these surveys. You're asking for an email address right off the top. That's going to turn a lot of people off. Like, I don't want to give you my email address. Never start a conversation by asking somebody how much money they make. You want to talk to them about, their experiences during the pandemic with education. Your email address has nothing to do with that. All right. Now, I realize that that's an option coming from Google, and you turned it on to make it required. So you collect all the email addresses. I'm just going to say that your numbers are going to be lower than they would be if you just asked for the email address later. Um, are you a teacher, student, or legal guardian of a student, or legal guardian of a student? I would. This is a great question. I would say, how have you how have you been impacted by the pandemic? And you could say, well, I'm a teacher, I'm a student, I'm the legal guardian of a student, or I've not been impacted by it. I've not been impacted by I've not had my education impacted by the pandemic. Like 4 questions, and then based on the answer of those questions, I can take this. It says, have you or your child done remote learning or teaching? So there's a lot of ors in there. It's doing a lot of work. For a parent, this question would be, is your child currently participating in remote learning? If you're a teacher, are you currently leading classes via are leading classes remotely? If you're a student, are you currently in a remote learning environment? Like, those are 3 questions, all phrased slightly differently, but they are more specific to the user that's already answered this question. They've already told you what they were, okay? And ultimately, you asked that question, or was it? Please pick one, teacher or student parent. Does that mean please pick one that I like? Do I prefer teachers over students or parents? Like, I think what you're asking there is, are you a teacher or a student or a parent? This question could be up here, and it could radically overhaul this entire survey. So I'm looking for the use of conditional logic to make these questions have, if your question has an or in it, you're not being specific enough. This question has 2 ors in it. Or. Anyway, and this is a good question, okay? Are you or your child eligible, misspelling, eligible for lunch? No. Did you always have access to pick up lunches provided by school? Well, I just told you I'm not eligible for lunch. Never ask a question that they've already answered in the negative previously. They can't answer this question. Am I eligible for lunch? No. Did you always have access to pick up lunch provided by schools? Well, I'm not eligible for lunch, so I guess no. What does it tell you? Does that skew your data? Because somebody who said they're not eligible for lunch just said that they didn't have access, when maybe that school did have access, but because we've asked the question to the wrong person, like, this is a very different answer. Are we eligible for school lunch? Yes. Did we have access to pick up lunches? No. That is a person who has been cut out and kept away from something they're eligible for. This is just somebody saying, I'm not eligible for that, so I don't pick up school lunches. It's a very different answer. Okay? All right, folks. I have to run off, and let's see here. All right. So, Ricardo, Bren, Abby, Katie, good submissions. Looking for improvements with each. And, let's see here. Well, Eddie also submitted some work. Eddie, yours is more written, though, so I'll be circling back on that. But I've got to run off and dabble with this little side project thing for a minute, so I'm going to cut this short. I hope that this was beneficial to everybody who submitted work today. And if you have any questions for me, you know where to find me over on the Discord, New Pragmatic channel. And otherwise, I will chat with all of you either later today or tomorrow.